In the previous section, we worked with asynchronous JavaScript. In this one, we will work with the different module systems that exist in the JavaScript world and study the use cases for each one and which ones remain relevant. CommonJS is the module system used with Node.js by default. If you're working on a non-transpiled Node.js project, especially in versions prior to Node 12, chances are you're working with CommonJS. CommonJS is a synchronous module loader that exposes exported objects, classes, and functions using the module.exports combination. In order to demonstrate how CommonJS works, we will start with this empty project. It only has a package.json file and an entry point, an app.js file. I'm going to create a module A that is, of course, a completely separate file. I'm going to use the module.exports directive to export a function. Now, module.exports can export pretty much anything. It can export functions, it can export objects, constant variables, whatever. Once you assign something to it, you override everything that existed before, so you can just use module exports equals every time, because this is how we import stuff. We use a const, this is the best practice, don't use a var when you are importing module file, and we use the require function. And within the require function, we give the name of the module. We can use relative paths, we can use absolute paths, and we can omit extensions. So if I run this application, you see in the console, this is A. Now let's create a second module. I'm gonna call it module B. In here, let's demonstrate some other ways of exporting different types of entities from a CommonJS module. One common practice is to use an object. So within this object, I can export function B that can do something like logging this is B to the console. I can go on and export another function if I want to. But first, let's see how we can import function B. This is an extendable module. We can go back and add whatever we want. So we can either do this. So we first require the whole module, which is an object, and then pick the B function from that module. Of course, it works. Notice that this module system works without us having to compile it because it's the default one. We can also rename the module. Notice that the .b part of the require statement was not changed because it doesn't change in the source. But the best pattern of importing only some of the stuff that are exported from a module is by using this structuring. So if I go ahead and define another function, like I said before, a function called C that prints something like this is C to the console, and go back to the app module, you see that if I do a control space, you can see that C can be auto-completed by Visual Studio Code. It has indexed the file. It knows exactly what is exporting, and everything works. Now, let's mention something else that is often a source of confusion for most developers. Whatever resides before the module exports directive is run only once. This is because Node, the runtime, will scan all the files that are required from one another and execute each file once. No matter how many require statements I run here, the module will be cast. Therefore, even though I use require with module B 2 times, the console.log statement that I've placed in the first line of the module will only run once. And to demonstrate that, let's run the application, and this runs only once port is indeed run only once. You can use CommonJS out of the box with Node.js. No need to use a bundler or any build process. In order to use all other module systems, you need a module loader.